Hello and welcome to StudyIQ. Today, we are going to have a very interesting discussion regarding United States politics. We are going to talk about the US administration and US presidency. Why are we discussing this? We all know that the presidency of Joe Biden, it began on January 20th, 2021, this year beginning. And on July 20th, it has been 6 months that we have experienced the Joe Biden administration and his presidency, his decisions, his policies. So in this video, we are going to talk about Joe Biden's performance in these last 6 months. So the theme of this particular discussion is a report card. And what I have done here is for 6 months, I have created a 6-point report card under different heads to understand the impact that he has had on the world and domestically on United States also. That would be the agenda for today. Stay tuned with me to get all this information. I am your friend Rahul Saigaonkar. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on the ID @RahulSai222. If you have any queries, any doubts, if you want to connect with me, you can directly message me on Instagram. I do respond on Saturdays and Sundays. Apart from that, if you're preparing for UPSC Civil Services Examination or any other state Public Service Commission examination or any other competitive exam, just go to StudyIQ.com or download the app from Google Play Store to know more about our programs. A lot of discounts are running in July 2021. Right, let's talk about the agenda today. As I told you, 6-month period has passed now. From January to July, Biden's 6 months have been seen. And if we talk about the election that took place in November, a lot of promises were made by Trump also, by Biden also. During the presidential elections, during the presidential debates, Joe Biden made a lot of promises. So what we are going to talk about today is from his inauguration day from Jan 20. In these 6 months, has he fulfilled those promises? How many promises have been fulfilled? How many have remained unclear or rather unfulfilled? Right. Let's begin the discussion. Under 6 heads I have divided. The first head would be reversal of Trump's policies. Now, this was one of the promises that Joe Biden made, where many experts were believing that Donald Trump's 4 years were a rather aberration in terms of foreign policy, in terms of the domestic policies. Very erratic decisions were taken by Donald Trump. Withdrawal from WHO, withdrawal from the climate change, Paris Climate Agreement, a trade war with China, withdrawal from Afghanistan. So many of Trump's policies have been reversed. In fact, on day one itself, Joe Biden signed 15 executive orders where he reversed many of Trump's key policies. Now, on this particular promise, he did fulfill it. But when we look at it closely, did he reverse all of Trump's policies? Did he reverse all of Trump's legacy? Actually not. See, Joe Biden has been quite shrewd in these first 6 months. Whatever Trump's policies were there, especially with respect to China, the trade war, the tariffs, they are being reduced, or development over that has been going on very slowly. So what Biden has done in these 6 months is he has leveraged the Trumpian policies and he is using it very smartly to basically achieve the national interest that United States has. So in terms of this particular goal, it has been a mixed bag, but nonetheless, many of the radical changes that were brought by Trump administration, they have been reversed and this work is still in progress. Apart from that, on the second front, on the economy front, many promises were made by Joe Biden, and here Joe Biden is performing pretty decently. We all know that in the beginning of this year, 2021, in January, US economy was ravaged by the COVID-19 pandemic. There was economic slowdown. GDP numbers were in negative. And what Biden did immediately after coming into power, he gave utmost importance to handling of the COVID situation. He announced many plans like the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, $2.3 trillion American Jobs Plan, $1.8 trillion American Families Plan. And recently, he has also announced a huge infrastructure package also. Now, what this has done, this spending by the government, what it has done is it has brought back the GDP on track. Now, if we look at the numbers from the first 3 months, that is the first quarter of 2021, US GDP is growing at a positive 6.4% rate. And if we look at the analysis by different economists, they are telling that this growth is perhaps going to continue throughout the year. That means US is slowly and steadily recuperating in terms of economy. So Joe Biden gets a positive here on handling of the economy, at least in the first 6 months. Now, another promise that Joe Biden did was with respect to COVID-19 situation. Now here, it has been a rather mixed bag again. What Joe Biden did was he gave utmost importance to the COVID-19 situation. Trump was not very serious with respect to COVID-19 handling, but from January, US has become very serious. COVID vaccine, the vaccination drive has been ramped up. And in the first 100 days, Joe Biden, he went for a very small target, a meager target of 100 million vaccine shots for first 100 days. And the administration outperformed themselves. 100 million shots were given in just 58 days. So looking at this particular success, Joe Biden again announced that on the Independence Day of USA, that is 4th of July 2021, the target would be that 70% of the adults would be vaccinated. Now, this target has not been achieved, but nonetheless, the progress has been quite commendable when it comes to handling of the COVID-19 situation. Now, these are the latest figures from July 19th. If you look at the vaccination rate in USA, although the data is updated 2 days ago, so more or less similar kind of numbers would be seen, plus or minus 1% error here. If you look at least one dose in America, how many people have received? 56%, almost 57% of population has received at least one dose. Complete vaccination has been achieved for 49% of the population, but the target was 70% by 4th of July, which has not been achieved. There are many reasons for this. A lot of misinformation is also seen in the United States with respect to vaccination. So the administration is facing difficulties very similar to what we are facing in India also. Nonetheless, I would say a big positive here in terms of importance given to COVID-19 handling and vaccination. Target is still there. Hopefully by next year or perhaps in next 6 months, US would achieve a better rate of vaccination, right? Now, let's talk about another very important promise of healing USA. Now, here, healing USA from the perspective of society, from the perspective of division that was seen during the Trump's era, Republicans versus Democrats, whatever policies that Trump followed, like bringing US out of WHO, bringing US out of the Paris Climate Agreement, many of those policies have been reversed. And on this front, within 6 months, Joe Biden has achieved quite a lot. If we talk about reversal, yes, at the international level, he has pledged that he's going to make America a major player in the global politics again. And the work has begun in terms of that. USA has acceded back to WHO. It has acceded back to the Paris Climate Agreement. So climate change policies have been reversed. Apart from that, Trump's strict immigration policy has been reversed. Relaxed immigration policy has come. Although, as soon as this immigration policy was relaxed, a lot of influx was seen from Mexico. Now, for that, what Joe Biden has done, he has given command to a second personality, that is the Vice President Kamala Harris. She has been made in charge of this immigration policies. A lot of people also came from Honduras. So, immigration policy has been relaxed, but the US administration is keeping an eye on it. Apart from that, in terms of division of the society, we all know about the incident of George Floyd and police brutality. Now, over this, within the first 100 days, Joe Biden has brought Police Oversight Commission, which itself is a very commendable job. So a positive thing towards healing the society, breaking that division between the whites and the blacks in the United States. Good positive sign has come from the Biden administration. Apart from that, Biden did attempt to revive the spirit of bipartisanship in the United States. Now, what does this mean? He tried to bring on board not just Democrats, because Democrats would be with him. He is from the Democratic Party, but he tried to build a consensus even by getting support of Republicans, right? So in recent figures of his popularity, 17% of Republicans also agree with many of his policies. So towards this reviving spirit of bipartisanship, he has been doing a decent enough job. Although we spoke about many of his programs like the American Family Plan, the Rescue Plan, there the Republicans are not helping Joe Biden entirely in passing those bills through the Congress. But still, work is in progress with respect to reviving the spirit of bipartisanship. Again, with respect to healing USA, we did not expect that to happen within 6 months, but still, a positive step has been taken towards this by a variety of decisions of Joe Biden administration. Now, let's talk about the fifth important pointer, and very important for us from foreign policy perspective. Now, on the foreign policy report card, there is a mixed bag. Why? Joe Biden announced during his presidential debates that he would take USA back to its glory. He would bring USA back into the global political fold. What Trump's 4 years had done. Trump's 4 years. saw US going for deglobalization, US looking inward, US talking about America first. Joe Biden also talks about America first, but he also wants to play a bigger role at the global level. Now, this is in line with policies for past 8 years before Donald Trump, what Barack Obama had. Similar kind of policies Joe Biden is trying to follow. And his policy with respect to China has been very cautious. Why cautious? See, he has not reversed all of Trump's decisions. So a trade war is still going on between USA and China. But what Biden has done, Biden has given new dimensions to this competition, a fair competition. We recently spoke about a competition in artificial intelligence in terms of research, etc. So competition is still going on. In fact, this is going to be the 21st century's defining competition, USA versus China. Biden is continuing with that. Apart from that, with respect to outreach to allies and partners, he has done quite a decent job. If we talk about his first 100 days, there was a visit to Japan, there was a visit to South Korea, a visit to European Union, a G7 summit was also held where Joe Biden attended this personally. So outreach to partners and allies has been very positive. In terms of India, the Indo-Pacific strategy would be continued, which is very decent. Again, in terms of discussion even with adversaries, he had a session with the Chinese officials in Alaska. He also met Vladimir Putin in a summit recently in June 2021. So a lot of things have come in terms of foreign policy domain also. However, one of the big questionable step that Joe Biden administration has taken is the hasty withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now, this policy has been criticized by many foreign policy experts. Joe Biden announced that the US troops will not come back by May 1st. The deadline for the Doha Agreement, which Donald Trump signed, that was May 2021. That was extended to September 11, 9/11/2021. And now, many news reports have suggested that 1 month before that, by August 31st itself, United States is going to withdraw all its troops. But what this hasty withdrawal has done is it has put a question mark over the future of Afghanistan. Trillions of dollars have been spent by United States in Afghanistan. What have they achieved? They have left Afghanistan still as a war-ravaged country and a possibility of Taliban control over Afghanistan. Now, there might be two sides to this particular story. One, yes, from Afghanistan perspective, multiple presidents have said this. Even Barack Obama's policy was that we are going to withdraw from Afghanistan. Donald Trump just hastened this particular process. Joe Biden just continued it. But as soon as the US withdrawal from Afghanistan is taking place, for US, I wouldn't call it a complete victory, but there is some silver lining here. What US has done by a hasty retreat from Afghanistan is it has brought back focus on Russia and China, two big adversaries of USA. Now, if you look at the situation, if Afghanistan turns volatile, then Russia and China will also have certain repercussions. So it might be a ploy, perhaps, to bring these countries back to the discussion table or make these countries contribute in Afghanistan. So the future of Afghanistan would be known in the coming months, in the coming years. But nonetheless, the hasty withdrawal has had a lot of adverse consequences, especially with respect to the advance of Taliban. Now, on foreign policy domain, it would be a rather minus, or I would say, not a great progress in these last 6 months. Finally, let's talk about personal equity. The sixth pointer is personal equity, how Joe Biden has performed personally in these past 6 months. Now, if you look at Joe Biden's approval rate, now this is from the Ipsos poll core political data. The latest data is from July 15, 2021. Here, the data shows that approval rating of Joe Biden is about 53%. That means majority of the people agree with Joe Biden's policies. As I told you, even 17% of Republicans agree with Joe Biden's policies. So his weekly approval rating is quite consistent. It is higher than 50%. In comparison to Donald Trump, this is a huge improvement, right? So there are many reasons for this. We do know that Joe Biden is a democratic politician. He has immense popularity. Again, owing to his history makes it very easy for him to connect with people. History of tragedy, his wife and his son, they died in a car accident, and because of this, it does make him a comforter in chief. He provides solace to people, and these are tumultuous times of COVID-19, so he has connected with people for sure. So on one side, there is a lot of approval rating for Joe Biden, but on the other side, these 6 months have been filled with gaffes. What gaffes? Many people have been questioning cognitive abilities of Joe Biden. And in these 6 months, in many of the press briefings, Joe Biden has committed many mistakes, many gaffes. What has happened recently in G7 summit also? He tried to correct Boris Johnson, although Boris Johnson himself was correct in mentioning the name of South African president. Apart from that, in recent times, when one of the journalists asked Joe Biden question about trillions of dollars being spent in Afghanistan, what has USA achieved? He did say that the main intention of USA was to capture Osama bin Laden, but Osama bin Laden was not captured in Afghanistan, but in Pakistan. Right? So there are many other gaffes like this. So he even forgot in one of the press interviews, he forgot the name of his own defense secretary, Lloyd Austin. He simply said that the person holding that particular office. Owing to these problems, many Republicans, especially a group of House Republicans led by the White House doctor and Representative Ronnie Jackson, they have called that the President Joe Biden, he needs to undergo a cognitive test, and the results of these tests have to be made public so that the American people have full faith in the intellectual capabilities of the President of the United States of America. So what we have seen here in terms of personal growth, personal equity, very high approval rating in comparison to Donald Trump for sure. But many people have questioned his cognitive abilities. While climbing the stairs of Air Force One in one of the incident, Joe Biden fell 3 times while simply climbing the stairs of Air Force One, the official plane of United States President. So all these do put a question mark over the cognitive abilities of Joe Biden. And in a very interesting snippet, we always talk about this. Will Joe Biden complete his term? If he is not able to complete, then we are looking at history. Why? Because the Vice President is Kamala Harris, and she will be completing the term of US President for the remainder time. In one of the interviews, Joe Biden mentioned Kamala Harris as President of the United States itself. A very, very interesting thing that does bring into question the big issue that we are discussing. Will Kamala Harris become the president very soon? So many Republicans are asking this particular question. So in the first 6 months, everything is at least fine, decent. I wouldn't say completely extraordinary. So as Joe Biden himself said that his administration, his presidency has been boring, but quite effective also. That's very, very true. It has been rather boring, nothing extraordinary, but he's simply trying to rejuvenate the United States of America, which has been impacted by 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency. Let's wait and watch for some time again, and we'll meet again with a report card of Joe Biden on his first year of presidency. Till that time, stay tuned on StudyIQ. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.